Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're making Thai green curry with chicken. For our curry paste, we need 2 teaspoons of coriander seeds, 1 teaspoon of whole cumin seeds, and a half teaspoon of white peppercorns. We're going to grind this up into a coarse grind, and I finally broke down and bought an electric spice grinder just to make my life easier. Next up, we're going to rough chop up 3 cloves of garlic and 3 whole shallots. We're rough chopping these because we want to give our help to our mini chopper, food processor, blender, whatever we're going to use to make our little curry paste here. So rough chopping this up and setting this aside. We also need about a half cup of cilantro. You can use the stems and leaves, and 2 stalks of lemongrass. Now you want to lightly bash your lemongrass with the back of your knife to soften it up a little bit because it is so fibrous. So we want to give a little help to our mini chopper. We're going to rough chop this up, and if it gets too difficult to cut through, just discard that piece of your stalk because it's going to be too rough for your food processor as well. Next, rough chopping up a 2-inch piece of ginger and zesting 1 whole lime. It's going to add such a brightness to the curry paste. Next up, we're going to rough chop 15 basil leaves. If you can find Thai basil, even better. It's a little bit more peppery than domestic basil. I couldn't, so that's what we're using. We're going to cut in half 6 bird-eye chilies for some heat. And for a milder chili, we need about 4 tablespoons of just whatever mild chili you can find on hand. This has no heat. It's just going to add a little liquid and some color. Now to a mini chopper or food processor, we're going to add all of our peppers along with a half teaspoon of kosher salt and give this a really good blitz. Before adding in all of our basil, this is going to add that beautiful vibrant green color. You want to have a little spatula on hand to scrape down the sides as you're going through because you want to make sure all your ingredients are getting chopped up. You can also use the blender for this, a larger food processor. I'm questioning whether this one is big enough, but we shall see. Next, we're going to put in our cilantro, ginger, lemongrass, and lime zest. And as this mixture is progressing, it's smelling even better and better in this kitchen. That lemongrass really comes through, the basil as well, and that cilantro. Going in to scrape down the sides yet again. And because I'm questioning my choice of chopper, I'm going to only add in half of the shallots right now to make sure everything fits. And I think once this breaks down, it should be fine. So there's still a lot of space in here, scraping down the sides. And I'm going to add in the rest of the shallots and the garlic. The paste itself is the longest process of this dish, giving that a really good whiz before adding in a half of the juice of half of our lime, all of our dried spices, and this ingredient is optional. It's fermented shrimp paste. If you can't find it, don't worry about it, but we're going to add a half teaspoon if you can find it. Once our paste is done, we're going to transfer this over to a container. We're not going to use the whole amount here, but this will store in your fridge for 2 weeks. As for the rest of the ingredients for our curry, we need to chop up 1 bell pepper, just taking out the seeds here and cutting this into thin strips. Now for the protein, I'm using chicken thigh. You can use chicken breast if you'd like. Tofu would be great in this as well. My chicken had bone in. I don't know why, but I'm just removing any excess fat, saving those bones for stock, and cutting the chicken thighs into 1-inch pieces. Now, over on the stove over medium heat, we're going to tip in 1/3 cup of coconut milk and let that cook for 2 minutes just to thicken up a little bit. This is going to intensify the flavor. Before adding in 2 to 4 tablespoons of curry. Now I started with 2, gave it a little taste, and decided to add in 2 more, so 4 total. But adjust it according to your taste. We're going to let that cook for an additional minute before adding in all of our chicken, giving this little stir to coat all of the chicken. And we're going to let that cook for about a minute. Before adding in the rest of that can of coconut milk and 1 cup of low sodium chicken broth, giving this a little stir. We're going to season with 2 tablespoons of fish sauce. This is going to add a ton of flavor as well. And we're going to add in 1 tablespoon of cane sugar. If you can't find cane sugar, just use brown sugar. And this is a key ingredient in this, kaffir lime leaves. If you can find fresh, amazing. I can only find dried, so I'm going to add about 6 dried kaffir lime leaves. This is going to add a citrusy floral note. And we're going to let this cook and bring up to a simmer for 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, we're going to add 1 small can of bamboo shoots. Let that cook only for about a minute before adding in our bell peppers, letting that cook for 30 seconds. We still want a little bite to the bell pepper, shutting off the heat, and adding in a large handful of basil. Again, if you can find Thai basil, even better than domestic, because it is much more peppery. And I'm going to season with an additional half teaspoon of fish sauce. We're going to give this a stir. That residual heat will wilt down our basil. And you want to taste this and add any extra fish sauce if needed. Now to plate, I'm going to pop in a little round of jasmine rice, and we're going to start layering in our curry. And this is smelling so beautiful and so fragrant and so delicious. We're going to garnish with a little additional basil and some lime wedges. And this is looking amazing. So giving a little squeeze of lime, and now we can go in for a taste. The chicken thighs are tender and they've picked up all of those flavors. Definitely want rice with this. It's going to soak up all of that sauce. You can taste the lemongrass. You can feel the heat from the chilies. That ginger adds a different type of spiciness. There's a freshness from the lime juice itself. The bell peppers are still a little crunchy, and that coconut milk mellows everything out. But there it is, Thai green curry with chicken. I hope you all try to make this in your home. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I really do appreciate it. And thank you to all my new subscribers. If you liked this video, give it a like. If you loved it, please consider subscribing if you haven't already, and hitting that notification bell, because I put out new videos every Thursday. Thank you so very much again. And until next time, happy cooking.